Hey everybody, Joe from the Jeep shop. How you doing today? Today is going to be a short little video on installing factory fog lights on your 97 to 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ. So a couple different model lines came with the fog lights right here. These are aftermarket ones. I got them right off of our buddies at rockauto.com. Jeeps have always had fog lights from '83 on. Fun fact about the original fog lights that came with the early models of the Jeep Cherokee. They were French fog lights called from a company called Sev Marcal, and I put a picture of what they go for on eBay right now. But they're vintage fog lights. Excuse me. The direction I wanted to take my Jeep in, right now, at least, all Jeep owners say, you know, I'm just going to kind of keep it stock. But that's my goal for right now, is I wanted to have that Jeep factory look, and I was going for that. So I had searched a couple different websites to look at just basically what the original Jeeps look like. It's early this morning, guys. I've been working a couple days a week and overtime, and it's been a challenge, but we're gonna get through this. The original fog lights, when I would zoom in on the pictures, they would have this like little black like symbol, and I couldn't tell what it is because when you zoom it in, it pixelates and you really can't tell what it is. So I did a couple different variations of Google search, and I came across the Sev Marcal or Sev Marchal fog lights, and I'm like, oh cool, that's the original fog lights that came with these Jeeps. And I'm gonna go see how much they are. Well, they're not made anymore. So I checked Amazon, they weren't there, but I checked eBay, and they go for a pretty hefty price. I guess being, you know, vintage and everything. So the only thing I could think of why Jeep went with those originally was maybe because of the Renix, right? So it was Bendix and Renault. Renault's a French company, so maybe that's why they went with those types of fog lights from that company, or maybe because they had, you know, their start in fog lights and lighting race cars and Daytona and Le Mans, you know, back in the 1900s. But anyway, they're really cool fog lights. But for wanting to do something, you know, affordable and, you know, just basically fog lights, spending $200 on old lights just wasn't in the budget. So looked up these wonderful left-hand, right-hand aftermarket stock fog lights, and let me put the other one the other way here. Yeah, this one, it looks like it's a left hand, and this one's the right hand. So they come with factory plugs. I'm going to cut mine out because I couldn't find the wiring harness that mates up with these plugs. So we're just going to cut those out and run hot to it and ground the other side. So what we'll do today is we'll cover quickly the process to install the fog lights. There's already wiring ran for them, and when I say that, you'll see why. You'll have to buy a new bezel switch that has the fog light switch included, and I'll show you a picture of that. And you'll have to run it to a relay, give power to the relay, tell you which fuse to click into. You know, with the fuse box, there's always, you know, ignition or keyable power or hot all the time, right? So I'm just going to go with the hot all the time. They're lights. If I know if the lights are on, I'll know they're on, and I'll turn them off. So the fear of draining my battery down is no big deal. But that's kind of the name of the game here for today. We'll just go through how to install the lights. You know, we want to do it the right way. You know, we want to, you know, run the wire through the firewall. We're going to want to put some really nice fancy wire loom to make it look like a professional job. And I think it'll be fun. So it shouldn't take too long. You know, we have our wiring harness here, and I have a picture of all the things that you'll need, and I'll put a description on a link in the description for all these parts too. And the fusible link right here, this is actually really cool. Instead of hacking into a wire, this little guy right here goes into your fuse box, and you run your power to here, you throw a fuse in here, and you have a line that's tapped right into the fuse box. You know, I think back in the day I would just probably cut into a line and splice it in, but I think this is a lot cleaner job, and you want to do it right. You don't want to set your Jeep on fire. So, okay, let's get started. Okay, so here is the unboxed, got it from Rock Auto. It's a TYC company. I guess it's a aftermarket company that makes parts. Left hand, they had two boxes. One was left hand, one was right hand. Obviously, kind of makes sense. Oh gosh, what just fell out? Left hand, right hand, right? So we'll just unbox this real quick. They box it up real nice too. And that's it. Ooh. Since I haven't found in my junkyard findings the other side of the plug for this, I'll just snip this top off. Nothing big, right? I mean, you're just going to put a ground and a positive to it, so it'd be nice to have a plug. But once they're installed, you really don't have a need to unplug and replug and unplug. So I'll just snap that plug off, and I'll give myself a little bit of length of wire just in case if I do ever find a factory wiring harness. I'll just go on ahead and plug those two together. Okay, so one of the key ingredients to this project is the correct switch plate. So what we're looking at here is the switch plate I had before, and you can see here there's the rear defroster, rear windshield wiper, and then the blank. Well, if you turn around, the blank had a place for wires to plug into. So let's go over to the Jeep and we'll take a look at what Jeep did for us. Actually a favor for us. Jeep has actually done us a favor. They have pre-wired the fog light switches. So here's what I got off eBay. Rear defroster, rear wiper, and now the fog light switch. This actuates like that. And you'll see it plugs right back there. So there are 4 wires that Jeep has created for us. Just want to quick talk about the orange and the black wire. If I can stop twisting these around for you and getting you guys seasick. The orange and the black wires are really just for illumination. So when you turn your headlights on, you see the, it's tough to do this with one hand here. It illuminates the switch, right? So when your lights are on, you can see it at night and everything. So that's just power to the actual little bulb inside the switch. The purple and the blue wires are really where the money's at with us and what we're trying to do here for this little project. The purple wire is 12 volts to the switch, and that's this guy right here. And we're going to run that to the fuse box, which is going to be in spot number 13, which is a constant hot. And once that loops through here, through the switch, it'll go out to the blue. And the blue wire is 12 volt out to the relay, and we'll talk about the pin readout for the relay. But what I'm going to do for the purple and the blue wires is maybe cut them right about here, and then run one to the I guess the purple to the fuse box, and then the blue line through the firewall out to the relay to give the on-off command for the relay. So the first wire we're going to set up is the purple line 12 volt input from the fuse panel. So what we'll do is I was able to take out the glove box, and there's these little rubber doodads here. I'm trying to find some. Oh, where did I put them? I guess I lost them. I guess my glove box will be hanging down here like this forever now. I'm sure I put them somewhere. I think I put them in the back. But anyway, they connect right up here and they hold the glove box, since when you open it up, it kind of stops there. But what we'll do is we'll run the wire from here through here, down there, and eventually connect to this, get out of the way, connect to this 12 volt fuse tap. So this 12 volt fuse tap is hooked into space number 13, which on my vehicle, and I'm sure they're all pretty much the same way, was empty, but it's a constant 12 volt feed. So the fog light switch will be able to be turned on and turn your fog lights on regardless of the keys in the ignition or not. So it'll be constant hot. Okay, let's go run that.
Just a quick test, so you can see I ran that through the back of the glove box, through that panel, and just to test, I plugged the plug into the switch, and it's going to be tough to tell in daylight, but you'll know you did it right when your switch illuminates. You'll see here. Get this to focus. So that'll be the little light on the switch that illuminates. That'll tell you that you really can't say, but it's a green light. And that tells you that the power is being fed. All we need to do now is wire up the feed out to the relay, and then we're done with the interior wiring. I'm going to make this all pretty. Get some loom behind it and zip tie it up to some existing lines, so you know, we'll make it look nice and factory. It is a gorgeous day out here today. Great day to be working on a Jeep, right? So the next thing we want to do is find a good location to mount the relay, and also figure out where we want to put our inline fuse for the power for the relay, which is going to be spot or blade 30 on the relay itself. So I'm thinking I'm going to mount the ground for the relay right here on this mount for the cruise control. And I can put the relay maybe right next to it right there. Just take a sheet metal screw and just kind of go through there. And then that'll give us close distribution to the power, or I can tap into something in here. And then what we'll do is we'll run the switch line, the feed from the relay, the line from the, let me get this out here. Take one, 3, 2, 1. We'll poke through this little plastic cover here real quick, and we'll run the wire from the switch out to the relay to give power to the relay. And then what we'll do is we'll just run that behind that big line of cord out to the relay, which we'll mount right there. So I'm thinking that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to lay it out like that, and then I'll show you guys what I did after it's all kind of laid into place. But I'm thinking that'll be the layout. A slight change of plans. This is metal right here, this little pin. I thought it was plastic, this little like knockout thing here. So what we have is this little boot that is on the firewall, and I'm going to run my wire from the switch to the relay through this little port already that we have here. Let me show you how I did that. I'm going to go to the inside of the Jeep, and we're going to kind of do an electrician's fish right here. So you can see through there. Just drill the real quick hole, and you can also see the the sun coming through that little knockout that I drilled in. But what we'll do is we'll push this through, and you just tape the, just push it through, and you'll see it on the other side. Just wanted to show you that little trick. Okay, so there's that, and hopefully if my tape holds, watch it come through without the wire. I can feel it not pulling. Come on. Sometimes you got to pull it really fast. Maybe should have done a hole. Oh, see? Awesome. You get the point though. So once I actually do that the right way and tape the wire through that little plastic hole, or the little rubber hole, we'll run it behind there, and then I mounted my relay right here. So we'll run all of the wires down here along this channel and up through there. And I unplugged the battery. And what we'll do is to power the relay, we're just going to tap into this right here. This is right along the fuse box, right? The fuse box inside the engine bay. And I have a little eyelet that'll go right through here. And there's a little bolt that goes right on top, and it's no big deal. But we'll get power through there, and we'll also use an inline fuse too. And I'll show you what that looks like. But I just wanted to kind of give you an update on where we were, and show you that, you know, this isn't Hollywood, baby. You know, sometimes take 2, take 3 to get things done. But I'll show you that wire coming through. I just knew that was going to happen. Too much fun. Jeep life. Here's where we're at now. Took an opportunity to go grab some lunch, hang out, relax. You know, it is Sunday, right? So it's not all work. Got to play a little. This is play too. So here's where we're at. The relay is mounted. I have it loose just so I can move the wires around. I have the inline fuse, a little 15 amp fuse in here, hooked up to the positive feed here, so the battery it's all unplugged still. Little eyelet that comes through here. This feeds the pin number 30 on the relay, which is power to the relay. Always want to make sure that's fused. You want to burn your Jeep down. I have the relay grounded with ground is pin 85 on the relay, and that's just grounded to the body. And you always want to make sure you have a good continuity. You test the positive on the battery and the negative on the body. If you have 12 volts or whatever, you know you're good to go. I'll show you this really cool spot in the Jeep where you can run your wire to the switch, which is the feed to the relay from the switch. That's this wire coming right through there. The only two wires we really have left are the positive to the lights, and of course you got to ground the lights too. But this would be 87 on the pin readout for the relay, pin number 87. Now there's an 87 and an 87A, and I believe you can use both of them, but I'm just going to use 87 and then just tie the two lights together. Like I said, it's not a big deal. Everything's fused, so that'll go down. We'll zip tie this all up, and we'll tighten this up. And there's a little cover that goes on here, but no point in covering everything up until you give it a good test run. But let me show you what you can do. All right, so to gain access to the back panel here, you take off a couple screws here. Right here, I guess I should have started out by showing you the panels you can take out. That's your cover panel that you see. And then there's this metal panel that goes under the steering wheel. And they come off with 2 screws as well. And it kind of clicks into some little plastic tabs here. So it's nothing big. I think it's total of 4 screws, and it gives you access to this whole area back here. Also gives you access to see how dirty this is, so you can take a nice wipe and clean it. You know, you're already here, you might as well clean your Jeep. That's 19 years of dust and schmutz and dog hair and all this other shit that's back there. That's freaking gross. But it gives you good access to where you can run your wire from your firewall, trace along an existing clump of wires, or grouping of wires. Clump of wires, that's gross. And you just kind of zip tie it through here, feed it through here, and your end result is whammo. Very exciting. Gosh, this is really neat. Gosh. So we'll run this through here, and I'll wire this up to the, I believe it was the blue wire. Let's take a look. Get you guys up to speed on where we're at. I am literally the world's shittiest video guy. I mean, camera stuff is really weak. Remember, we leave the black and the orange alone. We have the purple running out to the 12-volt fuse that we ran to spot 13. And the blue wire here will tie into this, let me guess, the blue wire here. So I'm trying to match the wires. It is blue, right? Yeah, it's blue. The other one's purple. So we'll do that. We haven't hooked up the lights yet, but once we hook up this blue wire to the switch, this should at least trigger the relay. So we'll hear the relay going on. Once we do that, then we know we're golden. And the rest of it will just be the wiring outside. Under the frame to mount the fog lights to the body itself. So I'm gonna go take care of that and go get a drink of water here because it's hot for late September. I'm gonna get some wipes too, because I can't stand knowing that dust is there. That's crazy. Now that we have everything pretty much wired up and we tested our relay to make sure it got power, we're going to want to start making room for the fog lights. And as you can see here, the factory kind of cuts out some of the hole for that. We're just going to go in here with a Dremel and just finish the job. So I think that's our plan now. So I have a little cutoff wheel for the Dremel, and it might be a little tough on this side. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? But we're going to kind of cut through here, go around there, and come up. And then once we're done with that, I'll show you where they mount, and then we'll do the wiring for the lights, and we'll kind of wrap this project up. It wasn't too bad, actually. I've been kind of poking around all day with this. Haven't really spent all that much time. The Eagles game is on today, so I've been kind of watching that. I was going to watch a couple more minutes, but they just had a fumble on their own 20-yard line, and the Lions had possession, so I figured a good time to finish this project out, and then I have to go food shopping, which is that's awesome. Can't wait. Should be a lot of fun. Don't forget, when you're using a Dremel, make sure you put some dirty ass face cover on so you don't get anything caught in your eye, and you can't see out of it. Whatever. Of course, the wheel is not big enough to get the corners, but I think I can figure that out. Once I got the straight part done, that doesn't look too bad. That isn't bad. And it's too thick to get with a like a knife or anything, so you really have to get it at a cutter. And then once you do that, you can clean up the edges with a file, so that's not too bad. I have to figure something out, but you get the idea. So that's not bad. Okay, I found that if you get to it from the back side, it actually is it isn't recessed, indented, so you can get to it a lot better. So that made quick work of that. And I'll do that to the other side. I'll just get it from the, we'll just hit it from behind. It's always good to do that. So that's our plan. And I'll get a file and we'll cut this crap out here. Okay, now that the opening has been cut out and cleared, you can see here this is the left-hand one, the driver's side. It has this little tab here that corresponds to that little hole right there. And you just basically, pretty simple, just slide it in, the holes line up. And gosh, what's the thread pitch on these holes? There's little pre-made holes that are kind of part of the whole mount. Bolts. Not holes, bolts, whatever. Give me a break. The thread pitch on those guys is it's an M8. Let's see, you can't see that. M8 1.25, and I believe since this is facing the other way, this will be completely in reverse. So believe me, it says M8 by 1.25. So we'll just go on ahead and take these puppies out. Stainless steel too. No point in these bad boys rusting out. And I think I got some washers for it too, right? Didn't I? Yeah, I did. Stainless steel washers too. Just kind of give the washer, give the head of the bolt a little bit. It's about the same size. It's okay. I just like using washers with it. So we'll go on ahead and do that. I'm sure there's an easier, oh, for the love of Moses. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but I'm choosing to do it the hard way today just because I'm tired. I'm sure you can do a lot of things. Come on, all you gotta do is bite and do it. What am I doing here? First day on the job? Come on. What the hell? just kind of tighten them up that way. Here's one. Little washer. And just kind of cinch it up. Ah. And I'll tighten these up, but they, that looks great actually. And they fit right in. So there it is. And we'll just cut this wire off, or cut this plug off, and then we'll just wire it up. But that is, that's the money. Well, it actually came out pretty nice. I'm happy. So the older Jeeps, kind of like I was saying in the beginning of the video, the older Jeeps had, let me flip this around here. Oh yeah. No, I can't turn it. Once it's recording, now you get to see my ugly mug. The older Jeeps, the old XJs, had the lights here and here, and that were those Sev Marchals or Marcals, and they bolted up right here and right here, and boy, they looked really sweet. But it wasn't stock with this 97 to 2001 XJ. So what was stock for these was the fog lights under here. So again, keeping with the stock theme, we went with what was stock for this year to kind of make it period correct, if you will. So that's the name of the game here. You know, if I want to take some time to get another Jeep, which of course I will eventually, and make that a you know, trail rig, or you know, hop that one up pretty good, I can put those nice period correct, because I'd love to get an early 90s XJ. That's really the goal. I really have two goals: a J10 pickup, an old MJ Comanche, and an early 90s Cherokee. So I got about 3 more Jeeps I have to buy. Just don't tell the wife. She thinks this is enough. how we have to bend the truth sometimes. It's insane. Used a file here to kind of clean up the hole here. The file. I used the fine part for the final, like, sanding, and then the rough part to kind of rough it out. So and it's a quick piece of sandpaper to get rid of the rest of the little fuzzies. I think it looks pretty decent. That is cool. Corner's a little messed up here. Get the idea. Clean up the edges. Jeez, that was close. God, why did you tell me that was so close? Joe, not so close next time with the camera, will you? Sorry, man. Trying to bring you guys quality material here. I don't want you turning off because you're getting seasick. I think that looks pretty decent. There's a little piece right there, but I think we're good. So I'm going to mount the other one, and we'll do a quick video once they're both installed. And there we are. 2 fog lights installed. They look pretty sweet. All I got to do now is just go on ahead and cut those plugs off, and wire to the relay, find the ground, give it some power, and we're good to go. I think we'll be able to finish these up tonight, so we'll do a test ride. And the good thing about it is they'll be the fog lights will be on regardless of whether or not they have the high beams or the low beams. So that'll be pretty cool. Pretty excited about the way they turned out. They look nice. Not bad. Back from a successful trip to the store. I just wanted to show you this wire loom that I'm using. I'll put a link to the description, link in the description of where I bought it at Amazon. I like it better than the plastic loom. It goes on pretty good. It looks pretty durable. I've used it for all my wiring projects, and I really enjoy it. I also used some heat shrink tube to, let me take it down here, to shrink the connections. They're covered now, but I shrunk the connections for the positive and the neg right in here, so it's all waterproof. So this should be pretty durable. And what my plan is to kind of run it under here through the channel, and then up through where the other side is coming through. And I'll show you where that's at. But we're just going to kind of fish it through here behind the header panel, and just make it all nice. You can see I already got the one side wired up, and let's see, I use the same braided wire. And we'll zip tie this to something so it's not all bounced around in the breeze. But that's kind of what we got going on here. Just put some tape on that side and heat shrunk the connections there. Ran it up through that nonsense. You can't see shit, but it's there. So I would definitely recommend using this tube. It you know, helps against abrasion, keeps it from chafing against metal. Plus it looks pretty damn sweet too. Looks like you know what you're doing. I need all the help I can get. But this is pretty good. Okay, so we fished through the wires for both left and right fog lights. Fished it through the front grille area. Got it tucked behind the header panel real nice. And now we're just going to join the positives and the negatives together. And that should tie both of the fog lamps in. And they'll both turn on when the switch is hit, which is pretty awesome. That's kind of the key, right? And I'll get this wiring wrapped up and cleaned up, and we'll do a summary after that's done. So thanks for sticking around. Okay, so when I went to go plug everything in and give it a quick test run, the fuse blew. So I'm going through the whole thing and I'm wondering what's going on. I'm looking at this, the relay's good. Put another fuse in, blew right out. Couldn't figure out what it was. So I undid the wiring for the lights, and the right side, I'm sorry, the passenger side light worked just fine. And then I isolated it to the driver's side, and as soon as I would touch the the negative and the positive to the battery, it would spark and the wire got super hot. So I'm like, isolated it down to get this. I took the top, I guess the cover off the light. The positive and the negative connections were touching, so it made a loop. So basically it was a negative, positive, positive, negative, zzz. And next thing you know, it was shorting things out. So I removed the negative and the positive from touching each other. I'm going to put a quick piece of tape around here. I gave it another test, and lo and behold, guess what works? The driver's side light. So when you do some troubleshooting, always try to isolate it to one section and just you know, troubleshoot, narrow it down to your least common denominator. And a lot of times it's not your wiring, your setup, your grounding, it's just something you didn't think about, like the two friggin' wires inside the light housing touching each other. Goddamn ridiculous, man. Always something with these pieces of crap. But we're good though. I love you, Jeep. Well, folks, that about wraps it up for today's project. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it was a really fun project. We got to add some brand new fog lights to the Jeep, and did a good job wiring and making sure that we've didn't do anything that would burn this baby down. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to put that little bell on there too, because you'll get notified every time I put up one of these outstanding technical videos for you. And you wouldn't want to miss any of this, right? I mean, it's pretty enjoyable. So you know, this little old baby gave me a couple little challenges today, especially with the one light grounding out. But like we always say, us Jeep owners, we always win at the end of the day, right? The Jeep never wins over us. So hope you all found this enjoyable, exciting, fun, and don't forget to click like and subscribe. This is Joe from the Jeep Shop, and we'll see you